Okay, we're doing this two things here. We're live streaming on YouTube Live,
Right.
and this will be cataloged. This will be saved, so we can share this after.
Awesome.
But then also, right here on my phone, we're going to be live streaming on Facebook here. So we're up and running right now. I want to say hi to everybody watching. My name is Dallas Goldtooth. I'm an organizer with the Indigenous Environmental Network. A part of the Indigenous Rising Media crew. And I have two representatives here, two organizers here on this webcast here. Maximize that. Boom. And so I want to ask you relatives to introduce yourselves and just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and kind of introduce us to the Two Rivers Camp and what's its purpose and kind of what it is.
Yeah, so my name is...
You guys speak up. Speak up.
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. So my name is Frankie Arona. I'm a Barrado, which is some of the original people of Texas, all the way up to Saltillo, Mexico. I'm also from California, Chumash and Tongva. My Tongva given name is Chayu Chua Hateko. I'm also the executive director for Society of Native Nations that has decided to answer the call out from the community in the Big Bend area, from the local community there, non-native and native communities there, to put up this camp, Two Rivers Camp, to address the Trans-Pecos pipeline. And it's one of the reasons why we got involved back in August with the Trans-Pecos pipeline, because we were already starting to work on the issues with energy transfer partners out in Dallas at the headquarters because of what was going on in Cannonball. And we kind of looked at it as if we're going to, address something that's going up in Cannonball, North Dakota, we might as well address the issues in our own backyard that a lot of us didn't even know about until all this, movement and awareness started coming about. So we figured it was important for us to start addressing, our own backyard at the same time, especially because it's the same company, it's the same energy transfer partners, the same Kelsey Warren that is doing the same thing over here. And so we decided to go ahead and consult with the local indigenous communities and the tribal communities, talk to a lot of the local indigenous elders from the Lipans, the Conchos, Carisco and Hamanos, and ask them for their blessings and putting together this camp and asking them to work with us and help us out. And which is the reason why we ended up calling it Two Rivers Camp, because the area there is known to a lot of the Hamano and the Lipan Apache as La Junta de Rios, which is the joint of the two rivers. So that's why our camp is called Two Rivers. And we just lit our fire, the second fire on Sunday. We had some Lipan elders come down and light that fire for us. And, it's been good so far. People will be coming down. We had a peaceful direct action on Sunday. And, we stopped the construction and the work and held them up for a little while. And one of our members and somebody from the community, Mark Glover, chained themselves to a tractor and got arrested, and we had to wait till about 10 o'clock at night to get them bailed out. But yeah, that's what Two Rivers is about, man. It's just pretty much following suit with North Dakota and what's going on up there, and that momentum, and what the elders have requested up there, and trying to keep that same momentum down here, and trying to bring that unity down here to Texas, man.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Frankie, for that introduction. Real quick, I gotta share the link here on my on Indigenous Rising. We're live streaming right now on Indigenous. I have too many chats open right at this moment. I'm gonna share this on my Facebook page. For those that are watching right here, you're gonna see a little bit of craziness because sharing to my other page. Here. Okay, here on. Bear with me, relatives. I'm just posting on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. All right. who's? I hear a kid in the background. Unless that's you, Frankie.
No, mine are downstairs.
That's Frankie. That's my granddaughter for a little while. So
Awesome. And then I'm gonna
I guess
post
just for a quick
this.
introduction for myself, my name is Yolanda Bluehorse, and I'm not from Texas. I'm originally from South Dakota. I'm a member of the Rosebud tribe, and was grateful enough to meet Frankie a couple years ago, and we came together, and we have, there's a bunch of us here scattered throughout the state of Texas who have this great, awesome group called Society of Native Nations, and we came together, and Lori Glover, she's part of the Big Bend Defense Coalition, asked our organization if we would come out and help them fight this pipeline. So myself, I live in the Dallas area. We've been holding myself and along with some other non-native people who have been extremely helpful with their experience in activism and rallies, and have been wonderful. We've held back-to-back rallies ever since, I think, what was it, September, or into August, September time, when everything was going up there in North Dakota to support you, as Energy Transfer Partners is headquartered here in Dallas. So we've done that, held rallies and protests at his office, his headquarters, and we've done marches to his home, which is in the Dallas area too. So good. You guys have a good, strong support base here in the Dallas, Texas area. Of course, this is oil capital of the United States down here, so a lot of people aware of what's going on up there, as well as down here in their own backyard with the pipeline. So it's a good old boy network down here. I tell you, it's a different kind of beast.
Yeah. Can you, Frankie? Can you break down for me, like, where's the location of the camp, the Two Rivers camp? What town is it nearby? Like, what like actual information where the actual location's at?
Yeah, so Two Rivers Camp is right in between Marfa and Presidio. It's about a 45-minute drive to the front line. The reason why we stationed it there and where it's located was for a couple of different various reasons: security for ourselves, security for our people that are coming to our camp, and being a camp that is doing some direct action and stuff like that. We have to be a little concerned in the community, because the community there is kind of small, and we brought in a lot of people, and a lot of people from the community have actually gotten involved and started to support. But I mean, it's a pretty big place. We have running water there. We have the campsite, there. We had the sacred fire built on Sunday and lit on Sunday. We've had a lot of outside support, including inside support. But yeah, where it's strategically laid out at, it was for a couple of different reasons, but mostly because of security. It's not like Border Patrol or police can just roll right in. It is private property, so you kind of have to need a search warrant to come in, not probable cause. You know what I mean? So there's a couple of different reasons why we decided to do that. We kind of learned some lessons watching what was happening up in North Dakota and Cannonball, and figured we would try to utilize some of those lessons and try to make things a little bit easier for us out here.
Awesome. Yolanda, what's the lay of the land? What's it like in the communities down there? What kind of, well, actually, one question I hear a lot is, who are the Native communities in the area? A lot of folks, especially a lot of Native folks across the country, we don't really hear many of Native communities down in Texas, even though I know about those communities. I interact with a lot of folks. Can you tell us a little bit more or share about that?
Well, I know in the North Texas area, there is a lot of the Native American community here consists of different tribes. A lot of them, their homes are in Oklahoma. There's definitely of different tribes down here in the Texas area. Now, the further south you go, you have, into the east, you do have one reservation. The Alabama Coshada Indians are here. The Pueblo Indians, am I pronouncing that right, Frankie?
Tiwa.
The Tigua, sorry, the Tigua. Big difference there. Sorry. So, and then there's another.
Kickapoo.
He's more familiar with, yeah, the Kickapoo are down there. So, the Lifeline Apache. There's a lot of non-federally recognized tribes that are down in the southern part, middle to southern part of Texas. So, while they're not federally recognized, they are there. You know, and they're out there supporting these camps, is the camp that we have down there as well. So it's not just one, you know, like maybe up in South Dakota or North Dakota or you know, the Navajo Nation. It's not just one tribe. It's a mixture of different tribes, different traditions, different cultures that are down here. The powwows are even the powwows are a little different down here. So
yeah. How about Frankie, where the camp is at, and down in an area where Trans-Pecos is planning to go through? Can you tell us about what are the communities that are being impacted down there? And I understand it's not just Native. There's actually resistance of like non-Native people who have been kind of leading that effort. I know you mentioned one of the individuals who's opened up the land for the camp itself.
Yeah. So I just wanted to just a quick piggyback off of Yolanda. Out in that little area, not in that little area, out in the Big Bend area, you know, there is 3 federally recognized tribes in Texas. There is more non-recognized tribes, federally recognized tribes in Texas than there is. You know, so out in that area, you had a lot of the Coahuiltecans, the Lipan Apaches, the Conchos, the Hamanos, the Carrizo Como Crudos, and you had a couple other various tribes that roamed through that area. And you know, there's even a time when there's some Cherokees roamed through that area. There's times when some of the Karu or Tonkawas roamed through that area. So there's quite a few different tribes, but you know, the ones that are there right now are the ones that, you know, we're working with the non-Native community there with the Big Bend Defense Coalition, and started to ask for outside, you know, support, which is when we start to get involved. So the communities that are there that are getting impacted by it, because first and foremost, you know, what hit that community was the abuse of eminent domain, right? It's supposed to be for public, and it's being used for corporate instead. For them to be able to lay these pipelines down on this, you know, because predominantly 90-something% of it is on private property. So, you know, if any of the landowners weren't in suit with it or along with it, they would start getting sued. And there's about 400 and something of them getting sued right now, and in the process of going through those lawsuits with Energy Transfer Partners. And so the communities there, Alpine, Marfa, and Presidio, all the way up to Bomberay, where the fracking is happening, and the Apache oil is, you know, looking at the shale oil underneath the ground, the new reserves they just found. There's a whole bunch of different things that are related to the issues on what's being addressed by Energy Transfer Partners and this pipeline. It's not just the pipeline; it's everything that's going to be coming with the pipeline. You know, the water testing, the millions of gallons being sucked out of the ground, out of a community that we were talking with some of the landowners that it was only two years ago where it was such a water drought that, you know, they had 300 and something cows die overnight because they couldn't make it to the next well over because one well dried up. And a lot of these landowners are scared. They don't have the money to go up against Energy Transfer Partners. They're already in lawsuits. That's why many of them are like all for it, but they really don't want us to come onto their private land and be seen as helping these types of organized direct actions to have another lawsuit put on them, where now, you know, they're even more stressed out, have more things to deal with and issues to deal with, and they're just scared, man. You know, they're scared, but they want to support, but they're scared to have it done on their land. And majority of that land, some of that land that's out there, these pipelines are going through, it's been in families for like 3, 4, 5 generations. You know, before that part of that area of Texas was even Texas. You know,
Are there
one since it was Mexico.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. My bad. Are there? Well, actually, I pulled up a map here, folks, that you might not be able to see it, but you said that where the camp is, what nearest what town?
It's in between Presidio and Marfa, and it's in a place called
Here's Presidio.
Casa La Pedras, Casa de Pedras, or Casa de Pedras.
Is it still? Is it farther north than Shafter?
Yeah, just a tad, not too much more than that.
So in this area right here, folks can see.
So pretty much, if people are familiar with some little bit of West Texas out there, the Midland Odessa area is one of the bigger, closer cities, if you want to call it a city, but it is bigger. And if you go south of there, following where Alpine is and Marfa, and as you get closer to the border, is where our camp, between, like he was saying, Marfa and Presidio. So if you go south from the Midland Odessa area, you go south from there, you can spot it on a map. The pipeline itself is getting ready to be constructed under the Rio Grande. The damage is to the environment. When you drive out there, as it is up on the reservations, the area is pristine. It is untouched, and it is a beautiful, beautiful sight of just, there's wildlife. I mean, it's just untouched land. And the really sad part about it is when you go into any area like that, and then you see all of a sudden, big land movers and pipeline and trucks and all of that, and you think about, wow, these people are really there. And the seriousness part of this is that West Texas is mainly a desert area. And from our understanding, from what we're being educated about the West Texas area down there, is it only rains about 6 times a year. So, not only is the water going to get contaminated from the fracking, but it's the amount of water. And just like, Frankie was saying with the animals, everything out there needs water, but water is very scarce out there. Affecting it down in that area becomes even more so a very concerned thing that needs to get done, because once he runs, fracking uses millions and millions of gallons of water if you read about the process of it. And once they're done running the chemicals and using the water to push out the gas pockets out of the earth, the water becomes contaminated, and then they just dump that water back in the ground. So that's where drinkable. It doesn't. Now the fracking part of it, when they've done that, here's the crazy thing about Texas too. So in North Dallas, in a city called Denton, there was fracking going on there. And so the city of Denton residents all got together and said, you know what, we don't want you fracking here. We do not want it. We're going to put a vote against it. And they did. They were the first Texas city to vote and ban fracking from their area. In 2015, early 2015, the lawmakers and the big oil companies down here did not like that. So they put House Bill 40 together, which bans all cities in Texas from banning fracking. So no city in the state of Texas right now is allowed to ban fracking at all.
That's mind-boggling. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that
it is.
You take away the power for people to decide what happens to their own community.
Yep.
And I don't think
that's
a lot
nuts.
of people realize that.
How about tell me a little bit? Can you tell me about the camp page? I have it right now. The Society of Native Nations. That Frankie, you said that's your organization that you guys work for, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Society of Native Nations. Yeah. And
then we have your website. Kind of how did you all get involved in this fight, and also who else is at the table? Who other groups or organizations are on the ground working on this fight?
So yeah, we were all part of organizations here in Texas and activists here in Texas. Some members were part of AIM. Some people were just members of their own communities here, and we started to get involved and do things together. And then we decided that, you know what, we need to do, we really need to create this unity, create this, momentum, and keep the momentum going. What we were being shown over there in North Dakota. So we decided to come together. There's a few of us. Our board members is me, Yolanda Bluehorse, Mara Garcia, Jackie Higgins, Pete Heflin, and Madeline Santabanez. So, we came together and decided to put the organization together based on creating unity between South Indigenous people and Northern Indigenous people. bringing us together, the eagle and the condor, and really trying to create that unity and keep that momentum going with the unity, and address those issues in our communities on both sides of the border. Very much like this situation here, with the Trans-Pecos pipeline. This affects both sides of the border. That it's going to go across the Rio Grande, and to indigenous people on both sides of the border, it's just as sacred as the Mississippi or Missouri. That Rio Grande, feeds thousands to millions of people, with water for farming. It involves sacred sites to both sides of the border, to the indigenous communities. And so, it was a perfect example of, it's kind of a perfect example of what we stand for. We're trying to stand up for the rights of our people on both sides of the border and create that unity and to come together and, keep the momentum going and what we've seen, in as far as the power and unity. And, we decided to do that and, work on trying to protect our spirituality, our way of life, our teachings, our culture, trying to keep the youth and the people that are separated from their communities, to get them reconnected with their communities. We're not just an organization that's trying to, focus on, political issues or focus on environmental issues, which is one of our biggest things because it has a lot to do with our culture, right? Our spirituality, taking care of Mother Earth, taking care of the water of life, and, and the wildlife around us, understanding that we're related to all things. So it's also about, getting our people to stay connected, with their teachings, with their ceremonies, with their elders, and with their communities. And then we just kind of just went down, the path together, and we're able to create what we've been able to create. And we had a good bunch of people that came together to create this, and not one person is leading something. It's about a consensus and having a voice, every single one of us.
How about, can you describe the lay of the land for the camp? I actually, one is, I heard there's numerous camps, or there's a number of camps, or one or two camps. Can you break that down for us, and help us understand the lay of the land for folks that are new to a lot of that? Either one of you can do it.
So there's about 3 or 4 camps down in the area, and depending on what part of that area down there is, there's a camp in Alpine, which is a temporary. It's not so much as not a camp people will be able to do or be part of direct action. It's more or less, it's the young man who has the drone in the area. So he has an area where he's set up there, and he's able to, he is in agreement with the landowner there on a temporary basis to be able to film the pipeline with his drone and have somewhere to stay, and anybody who wishes to follow him there. Then there's a camp in Balmaray, which I believe that's where the actual fracking, if I'm correct, Frankie, is going to take place. When that
Balmaray is the name of the town?
Right. And then there's ours, and then there's another one, I believe, in the Presidio area. So while there's 4 little, 4, those other 3 are almost like prayer camps, support camps, if people want to go down there. We're very busy up, so it's, what they do is we're just very busy with ours, and I commend you guys for what you guys have accomplished. I could not imagine 10,000 people you guys are dealing with up there. Wow. Just the getting off the ground part is you're establishing a camp like this at any size, supplies and all that. But so that's basically it. There's about 4 camps. Our camp is the only one that we have people that are willing, if you're willing to come out and go out and protest, rally, solidarity march, direct action, whether it be hard or soft, anything like that, we are willing to do that. As for what the other camps are there for, like I said, one of them's a prayer camp. You have the young man with the drone, and the other camp I think is more of a support camp. I'm not sure if they're going to have any direct action or anything. So, but what? The more the merrier. The more the merrier. The more the ETP, Energy Transfer Partners, is aware of that. There's more people that knows what he's doing, and what he's doing down here is illegal. It is illegal as hell. this eminent domain, taking these landowners. I mean, it's just somebody's coming in and taking over your land, and for what? It's not benefiting them at all, or anybody here in the United States for that matter. We are not going to see a profit off of this pipeline.
So I want to jump, piggyback off of her a little bit. So, right now, we had Camp Tahavil, which is the camp out in Bamaray. They're an educational camp, and they're trying to bring awareness to the fracking. They're a long-term camp where they're trying to focus on, way down the line. Like, in other words, if we for some reason cannot stop this pipeline, the focus will then be on trying to prevent anything get pumped through that pipeline, which was going to be involving the fracking that's happening. The other two camps are, like Yolanda was saying, are kind of like support camps. We don't know too much about them. The only ones that we really focused on, working a lot with, was the camp out in Bamaray, because we know some of those elders that are out there and some of the native community that's out there. So they came to our fire, our sacred fire lighting on Sunday, and we're going to be going out there this Sunday to theirs to show that support. And so yeah, I mean, if people want to know more about those camps, we don't, like she said, we're pretty busy, wrapped up, just trying to keep what we got going intact and together. So it's a lot of work, and I can't fathom, trying to, hold on to that many people, that many camps, and try to keep it some kind of structure. So we don't know a lot about what's going on at those other camps. We try to, get out as much information as we can and try to work with whoever that's out there as much as we can. It's about us coming together to address this common issue that affects all of us. It doesn't just affect the specific community, it affects all of us. And we got to try to create that unity to try to attack this pipeline and attack, and what's funny is that the community there, they're really about, what we found is that they're really, it's not so much the issues of the pipeline for a lot of them. What it is, they cannot stand that corporate industry is coming in and bullying them. When they have such a high rate of unemployment there, this pipeline doesn't create any kind of jobs for them. And, here they are bullying them and taking their land. And, when this pipeline is finished, if it gets finished, it ain't going to benefit them any. Once it's done, it's done. And the only people that are going to be benefiting it is going to be Energy Transfer Partners and the companies and mongoose that are involved in, the bottom line. And that's it, and that's what the community is so pissed about. They're just so anti-corporate America right now. And so we have to, so it's kind of weird where we have to, kind of cater to the different kinds of communities, where you got some that are just all anti, corporate America, some that are all anti, pipelines, some that are all anti, environmental, protection for, wildlife. And so you got so many different types of groups coming together, trying to, not trying, but they are finding ways to coexist to address the issue, so we can work together and create that unity. Because we've learned, right? We've learned the power in unity, and we need that unity, and we need that what has been shown to us to happen here. And Texas is unique in its own way because it's so scattered out. It's massive, man. I mean, you got to drive 2-3 hours to another community sometimes, just because it's so dang, there's so much desert.
I hear you. I know from up north, it's not as expensive, but like to go visit relatives, you got to get ready for a 6-hour, 7-hour drive.
Yeah.
To do that. Tell me about the camp. I'm while you're talking here, I have the Facebook page up, and we're looking at pictures from the camp here. Tell me a little bit more how folks can help, or what's the actual camp? How many people are there right now? And I'm looking right now at a picture. It's a large, looks like a pole barn with no sides on it.
Yeah.
People sit.
So
Tell me.
So when you drive into the camp, you get to, you come to a parking area, where you'll check in and kind of get the lay of everything and get welcomed in, and then you go right and you'll see the kitchen there and the med center. They're both under this big, kind of like a 5-car carport. It's a pretty large area. It's got a little fire in there. That's where a lot of people end up hanging out. pretty much everyone likes to hang out next to a fire and where all the food is. So everyone kind of hangs out there. We have anywhere between 10 to 30 people at any given time that are pretty much out there throughout the week and throughout the weekend. We had about 50, 60 people there on this past weekend. During the time that we were going to light the fire, that we lit the fire. We have, we had some people come out and offer to do compost toilets and hooked up 2 toilets for us. So we don't have to continue to, pay these fees for these outhouses. They hooked up some solar. They hooked up a solar shower for us. We have running water there. We're trying to work on getting power there, but the power will be for, the kitchen and the med center and a media center that we eventually want to put up, so we can try to get information out as fast as possible. But yeah, I mean, it's the high desert, man. It's Texas, man. And it's like we got some cottonwood trees out by the creek. It's beautiful down there where there is some water. But other than that, there it's a lot of mesquite, a lot of bushes with stickers on it that ain't kind to you if you're not watching where you're walking.
It's the beauty of the land, man.
Yeah, man.
Beauty of the land. So how about this? We'll start wrapping it up here. Just if anyone's watching the live stream right now, go ahead and ask some questions. If there's anything that they haven't talked about, ask it. But how can people help? What are the different ways folks can help? And while you're talking, I can also try to go to your website and stuff like that and show people.
Go ahead, Yolanda.
So one of the things we have done, and just to give people an option, we have set up a PayPal account for financial donations as well as a GoFundMe. Those are some people prefer PayPal, some people prefer GoFundMe. Obviously, either one is fine. We do also have a legal funds that already. We had 2 protectors get arrested on Saturday morning, and we had to bail them out. So with the legal fund, if we're going to continue to do direct action in whatever way, shape, or form, at least we have that there as something to fall back on. As far as supplies, we're getting a lot of questions of supplies. On our Facebook page, we do have a supply list. And in virtually anything that is donated right now, because we're a brand new camp, it will be much appreciated. I mean, things as simple as, biodegradable dishwashing soap, bins to wash your dishes in. So if you were to just go camping, think about what you would need. We have some items out there, big cooking pots, because we're expecting, more people to come out. Things like that, ladles, cooking, as far as cooking utensils. But it's just, like I said, we do have a list out there. Frank did put together an Amazon list.
Where's the list at? I'm looking on the page right now.
Okay, so if you go to the camp page, on the Facebook camp page, and you see the pinned post that shows, when you hit continue reading.
Boom, right there.
Yeah, there you go. It's got everything, the directions to the camp, what we need, pretty much the whole. That's why we pinned it to the top, so that way everybody can, click that first thing up on the page and kind of read everything about what we're doing, why we came about, and what we're trying to do, the kind of things that we need. We are keeping this camp a prayerful camp with prayer and spirituality at the forefront of our thinking and planning. We want to keep that way because we've seen how that's worked, and we want to make sure that's done that way. That's why we're asking that there's no drugs, no alcohol, no firearms allowed on this on this campground. If anybody violates any of those things, they'll be asked to leave. If they don't keep to our peaceful protesting and direct action and go off and try to do their own thing, then we'll ask them to leave. We're trying to stay connected and united in what we're trying to do, and do exactly what we said we're going to do. So we're asking everybody to come in a good way, in a peaceful way, and join us and help us out, and hopefully we can get enough people to come out and help. But we are trying to be straight up with everything that we need. I don't have no problem explaining to anybody and answering any questions that they want to ask. Everything you'll see by watching our camp and talking to the people at our camp, everything that we do, everything that we bring in, every donation that comes in, whether it be monetary or, through supplies, it pretty much goes all into the camp, and, it gets distributed there. It's there for anyone to walk into the kitchen and walk into the med center and to the supply room, where, if they need something, they can get it. We're not, we're going to do exactly what we said. And as long as people keep tabs on what we're doing and keep up to date on our pages, they'll see for themselves. We try to be upfront, about everything.
That's pretty powerful. I mean, it's straight up, like, you guys are doing great work down there. I want to recognize on the page here, you also give a shout out to the Big Bend Defense Coalition.
Yeah.
They're also been helping out. I know that they were the first people I remember that talked about the Trans Pecos when I heard about it. So I want to recommend folks to check out their Facebook page as well.
Yeah, we decided to do it along with them. They helped out with with the land where we're at. It's private land. That's why we were working with them, and they're working with us, and it's been great so far. We have a great relationship, and the community there that is involved in that organization has been great, and show a lot of support and have a lot of support from the community. So yeah, it's been great, and we haven't had any issues or complications as far as coming together and bringing the camp together. We've all been able to work really well together.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else? I know someone asked, what ways can people support if they're not there? Asking if there's any actions that they could take in the area, whether it's like the ongoing, somewhat like the ongoing divestment campaign up at
keep doing it. Yeah, definitely keep doing that stuff, man. It all helps. I mean, we figure if we can't stop this pipeline, we're definitely going to cost them more money. We're definitely going to cost them more money, by stopping their work or them having to hire more security or whatever it may be. So as long as we can keep, costing them more money and people can keep divesting and, protesting these pipelines and companies like this and companies that he sponsors or is a part of, then, we'll keep pulling that money out of their pockets. And if they don't have money in their pockets, they might not be able to finish that project. And if that's how it's going to have to be done, then that's how it's going to have to be done. So anything and everything, counts, man. Everything that we can do as a community. If not, then it's just bringing awareness, right? Help us bring awareness. Help us get the message out there. Help us let the rest of the world know that we're at the basis of these oil industries and these oil companies that are out here, that are doing it here as well as everywhere else. A lot of these executive officers for these types of companies live here in Texas, live here in Dallas and Houston and Austin, and we got to start standing up and saying enough is enough. We had an elder come out in 2000 and say, there's going to be a day we're going to pay, more for a gallon of water than a gallon of gas. It's not even 16 years later, and we're already there in some places. We're already paying, more than more for a gallon of water than a gallon of gas in some places. So, I'm scared to see what's going to be like in 10 years from now or 20 years from now. Our children might be paying $10 a gallon of water. It shouldn't be a commodity, man. It's a human right because none of us can survive without it. And, so I ask people, if you can't come down to the camp, if you don't have the means to help out and support, send supplies or, give monetary donations, then just help us by getting the word out, help us get out of the word and do something in your own community, work at, the Wells Fargo's, protest the Wells Fargo's and all the other banks that are a part of supporting Energy Transfer Partners. Anything and everything we can do, all helps.
Sharing on Facebook, definitely, to get the word out. The Dakota Access Pipeline, which you guys are dealing with up there, has breathed new life into this fight down here. So to keep it revived, to keep the momentum going, everybody to share, become educated about these pipelines. They're here in Texas, they're in Florida, Arkansas. Share this information. So if at least one person you educate, one person out of 20 of your friends, if you can get one person, then you've accomplished a lot.
I just want to say a quick thing too. You know, it's like I want to let it be known out there that, you know, as an organization and as a newer organization, it's important for transparency, and that's why we always put everything that we're up to and everything that we're doing on our pages, so everybody knows that, you know, when we're asking for support and help, they can see that we're doing what we say we're going to do, and we will publish everything that, you know, needs to be published. Everybody knows 501c3s have to publish with the IRS, and it's public to everybody, and anybody and everybody can look it up. So, you know, we will post everything. We are, you know, a fully functional 501c3, and we will submit all paperwork to the IRS for them to see it, and where everybody in the public can see it. And we'll be transparent as much as possible. If people want to ask and want to know, because that's the biggest thing right now. You know, everybody wants to make sure that everybody's being transparent, everybody's being upfront. And I'm just telling everybody, watch our page, watch what we're doing. You know, we're gonna do what we say we're gonna do, and we're gonna use the funds and the support for what we say we're gonna use them for. And, you know, wait and stand by, and you'll see that we will publish and be transparent with everything. We don't want anybody, you know, to think that we are, you know, in this for ourselves, because we're not. I'd rather be home, you know, during these times with my kids and my children. You know, I got an 11-year-old and it's 7-year-old. You know, I mean, I don't want to wake up one day and say, you know, when did they grow up? You know, I want to be in their lives, and my kids are in my lives as much as possible. So, you know, we're doing it because we're passionate and we're thinking about their future generations. So everything that we do is because each one of our members is passionate about it. You know, we got members out there at camp right now that live in Houston. They haven't been home in 2 weeks, you know, and, you know, they're going to be out there, and they've committed to be out there, much like a lot of the people out there in Standing Rock and Cannonball. You know, I have a lot of respect and love for those kind of people, because they're willing to do what's necessary, you know, to make sure that we have a future to leave behind for our children, to leave something, you know, positive for our children in the future. So, you know, I always tell people, just stay up to date, man. You know, watch our page, watch what we're doing, and we'll be straight up. Be straight up, ask us, and we'll have no problem answering any questions.
Oh, thank you very much for both of you for taking the time to jump on this interview here, this webcast. I hope it helps. I mean, this is the best. Sometimes the biggest thing that we can do is just share information, share the story. So, you know, we're going to continue to help out as much as we can. You know, we want to just build up that narrative that this is not, we're not fighting in isolation.
Yeah.
These projects, we're unified, and that indigenous resistance is just it exemplifies that we're all connected in this struggle to protect Mother Earth together. So,
yeah,
I appreciate you all.
Appreciate you guys and everybody out there and the support. So
continue, check out Two Rivers Camp Stop Trans Pecos Pipeline on Facebook. You can check out from there you can learn about how you can donate to the organization, support the fight, support the struggle. I want to say thank you to everybody for watching on Facebook, for folks sharing this, and you know, we look forward to seeing how more we can help out with your relatives down there, and we'll probably do another follow-up interview sometime down the way. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. You have a good night.
You too, brother.
You too.